Now, Donald Trump has rolled back many of Barack Obama's policies on climate change. Environmentalists say his executive order will hurt the US at home and abroad. Well, earlier I spoke to Peter Mathews, who's a professor of political science in Long Beach in California and the author of Dollar Democracy. I started by asking him how Mr. Trump's policy would work exactly.
It will work by rolling back and reversing Barack Obama's Clean Power Plan, which was a plan that banned emissions from coal-fired power plants, carbon emissions. And it would actually shut down some of the coal-fired power plants and replace them with clean energy, preferably solar and wind. And this was anathema to Trump and his supporters. They thought they would be losing jobs, but frankly, the coal industry has been losing jobs anyway because of automation. So that's the real problem. It's not a matter of jobs being exported or anything like that. It's automation, and it's time to move on to clean energy. But Trump is going backwards.
Well, you say he's running backwards, but you make a good point. As far as President Trump's concerned, it is about getting those jobs, getting jobs for miners. Very interestingly, he had miners with him as he signed this executive order. But won't this create more jobs? Isn't this going to be a good thing for certain workers in the States?
Well, in certain states, of course, it'll create jobs. But, you know, the coal industry only hires 65,000 people. It's actually gone down from 85,000 to 65,000 or so in recent years. But it's mainly gone down because of automation. The machinery that's used to actually dig the coal up replaces a lot of human labor. What they should have been doing is moving on by retraining these workers for other jobs, other manufacturing jobs, say light manufacturing, other kinds of manufacturing, high tech, bring them into manufacturing in those areas, in those states in Appalachia, in Tennessee, and Kentucky, the lower income states. I think that would have helped these coal miners tremendously if the government had taken an active role in retraining and providing new types of jobs by subsidizing private industry and also having some government jobs as well. That's what should have been done. Just doing this, reversing back to coal again and oil rather than going to clean energy, which Germany has 50% of its energy, its electricity produced by clean energy sources. Britain is way ahead of us. You guys have tide power where you're generating electricity from the tidal waves. And we've got lots of waves here in California, but we don't have any of that technology. We should have been moving toward that technology as President Obama actually has started to do until Trump came in reversing everything.
So you don't think this will actually really create that much extra work? You don't think this will work?
I really don't think it'll work because, again, the automation has taken those jobs away from most coal miners. And frankly, coal is going to be on its way out anyway. The demand for coal is going to go down as new wind energy is picked up in Texas, for example. Tremendous amount of wind farms over there. We have solar panels now. We have flexible solar panels that are being manufactured here and from China as well. You know, China and India are going to stick to the climate change protocols of the Paris agreements. We don't know if Trump is going to withdraw us from the Paris agreements, but if these new approaches of Trump goes through and are implemented, the U.S. will not be able to stick to its commitment to reduce the greenhouse gases by 26% by 2025. China and India and other countries like Germany and will continue to do so, and that's a real shame because the U.S. was a leader in this as well and should be much of a leader. It's one of the biggest polluters, the second largest polluter in the world. And countries like Bangladesh and other countries in the global south are suffering from climate change, global warming, rising sea levels, melting polar ice caps. And it's time we really move forward. I'm really disappointed, and I think many people are outraged. And there will be some court cases against the Trump administration for doing this, reversing this.
You see this could be actually fought in court?
Yes, absolutely. The Natural Resources Defense Council has already talked about going to court with it. Earth Justice is going to go to court with it. And it will be fought in court and the court of public opinion as well. So there's an election coming up in about a year and a half for the Congress, and much of the progressives on the left side of the spectrum, including environmentalists, are being galvanized now on this issue. I think Donald Trump has actually roused up opposition to try to change the Congress in 2018, since it won't be able to change the presidency until 2020. So it's had unintended consequences, this whole action, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes.
But it hasn't just been criticised by environmentalists, and business leaders have actually welcomed this move.
Some business leaders, yes, who believe that deregulation is the answer to everything. But there are also business leaders on the clean energy side that I don't think this is a very good thing at all. And the federal government should be subsidizing clean energy and promoting that, as the Germans have done with their clean energy system, with rooftop solar panels and the feed-in tariffs over there, which pay people to produce electricity from their homes. That's the kind of futuristic thinking that Trump said. He said he was an innovator and a leader in change, and he's changing back toward the past, not the future, in my view. So, yes, some business leaders would like this because they like deregulation, period, to make profits at any cost. But there's a social cost to this, an economic and environmental cost that are going to cause more lung disease, more mercury emissions from coal-fired plants, and those things. But we shouldn't forget the folks in those areas. We need to get them to work in other kinds of manufacturing, other types of industries, and there has to be a government role for that with the private sector.
Professor Peter Mathews, talking to me earlier.